Another thing I was fascinated with this particular piece was the shadows.
So it's so great to have you back here after being on the Inside Out stage and being here in the off festival months on Creative Development Residencies. So I really want to talk about building the works, both the choreography and the dancing, but also all the stuff. So let's start by talking about BEAU. I've been thinking about collaborating as choreographers, and we see in BEAU, we see you in Unison, and then we see you both on stage doing different things, and then we see solos. Could you talk a little bit about how you build work together, and then how you sort of step out of it and become just a dancer in the work and let the other one be in charge for a little while?
So when it comes to creating together, it's a little bit different each process, but generally, all of the movement comes from the two of us. In each process, usually, whether it's an ensemble work or not, it starts with us in a room together, just generating material, not trying to layer too much on top of it right away. It's just purely what's coming out of us right now. Oftentimes, we'll create separately. We'll go to opposite sides of the room and just work on material, and then we'll come and do like a little show and tell for each other, and we'll say, I like this, I don't like that, that's terrible, don't do that. It's true. And then a lot of the times they just get meshed together, so we use each other's instincts to build at least the base material.
So I'm also imagining that you might think, like, oh, I want to do that. Like, does that happen that Jonathan shows you something and you think, oh, this is definitely going to be a Unison section because I want to do that part, yeah.
And the converse too. There's sometimes he'll show me something and I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's your solo now. So that does happen. Yes, but for BEAU there's a lot of unison because we want it to feel sort of one and the same, of the same person.
Especially in BEAU in particular, you want to feel like the same person?
For sure. Do you want to? Okay. Nervous speaker. Yeah, a lot of our duet work seems to feel that way. It seems that we're kind of mirrored images of each other. That's sort of a constant theme when we work just as a duet.
So I want to ask about the music, because one of the things that's particularly striking, I think, in BEAU is that some of those pieces of music we have real associations with. I wonder if you could say something maybe about the Leslie Gore. In a certain way, it's sort of lighthearted, but the dance isn't really lighthearted. So maybe you could just talk about what it's like to pick music like that feels like so associative to things, and then maybe resisting that a little bit.
For that section in particular, we wanted something that felt very false, that felt like it should be lighthearted, that it should, this should be fun. But underneath it all, it's really not fun. There's something actually tragic happening, and like it's a facade, and with the mouth retractors, this like forced smile that has to happen. But it's
what the hell are those things?
They're like when you go to the dentist and they pull your mouth open, and then we incorporated the stage cleanup to sort of make a comment that things move on even when things come to something that's tragic or something that's very sad or death or things like that. Like the ball keeps rolling, and whether you're ready for that or not, it just keeps happening, and you push forward. So we thought, you know what, they should just start the changeover before the dance is even finished.
I was thinking how the unexpected moments of performance that happen, that to have a female crew with the male dancers is such a nice inversion of our expectations, which go team, everybody doing things we don't expect. But I want to move on to, well, no, we got to talk about the gun. They say that thing, you can't bring the gun on in the first act and not talk about it in Act 3, I guess we're in now. So, that's also, it's a really, that's the most specific narrative element that you bring in, and there's no resisting the associations with that. Could you talk a little bit about like that, or that's not abstract?
No, it's not, and it was a challenging decision to incorporate it, because it's a direct. It's there, and there is that direct association.
And Austin, your entrance is this like triumphant entrance and the big circle run, and then what the hell's he carrying?
But we thought, if we're gonna go there, we're gonna go there, and we're gonna use them, because we tried with just gesture, and it doesn't land the same way, and it's a challenging thing to do performing. It's like, this is a difficult thing to do, to come out here and kind of parade around with this thing, especially with the things that are going on in the world right now. But it's real, it's reality. So we just said, this is happening. We're going to do it.
So in Sad Boys, you're joined by 3 more dancers. So still, you already mentioned that the material comes from you, and then you're working with them. So what's that stepping in and out of? It's not just the 2 of you in the studio anymore. Now there's 3 other bodies, very different kinds of bodies, different movement sensibilities. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to work with them?
Sure. I think we both feel the beautiful thing about this group. It's a new group. We started this process in January with this group in particular, and they're all drastically different, but all incredible and generous and beautiful and definitely, yeah, and that's something that we really discovered working with them, that they're just truly themselves, and they really own who they are, which is an incredible thing as a director and as a choreographer, to work with someone who's fully in their skin, and you know who they are. So that it's been a really great process with this group. So yeah, we do give them, they have to learn a lot of phrase work. And I think sometimes that gets irritating, because we come in and we're like, we have 5 more phrases for you to learn today. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, we're teaching them material. But then we've started to just let them destroy it and just say, you don't have my body, I don't have your body. Do it how your body wants to do it. And then it changes. And it becomes something better and more beautiful.
So one of the things I was thinking about watching, that there's clearly the stuff that we would consider virtuosic movement within a dance, in a dance context, and then in some ways, some of the hardest things you've asked them to do. I was thinking about the big running passes when you come on the diagonal downstage, and the association, I think, for so many people of how are men supposed to run, and I don't want to run like a girl, and what are the ways that you embody something so pedestrian. And could you just say something about the sort of balance of like this sort of the athleticism you're going for, and then the associations with those kind of connotations growing up, maybe, or how that feeds into the work?
We're really trying to just live in our own skin and be fully who we are. And yes, there is this element of athleticism and I guess the ideals or the things that come with it, even thinking about sports culture and things like that, and this hyper masculinity, and we try to not live in that too much, and say, yeah, he's saying, just let your body talk the way it talks. So we don't concern ourselves too much with, oh, you may run more feminine than me. Oh, well, that's great. Run how you run. Yeah, and that's part of what the work is, challenging those things that seem to be what's expected or what's the norm. And we just say, you know what? I'm not so normal.
So can you say, I want to talk a little bit about the sets and props element you mentioned, mouth expander. But we have a fan, we have this fantastic mulch, we have tape. I mean, you bring in these things, like, so there's all this dancing, but then there's all this other stuff to look at and contend with as well. Can you talk about when you start thinking about what other things you might put in the space and how they might have an impact on what's going on?
Yeah, it's pretty early on. I don't know why we have such attraction to stuff on the stage. And we say it every time we start a new piece, no more stuff, because one, this is a lot of stuff to carry around. So, but it always happens. But yeah, there's just this attraction to having other textures, other materials in the space for us to deal with, and obviously for the viewer to deal with, because it is a visual thing, and it's aesthetically pleasing or not pleasing. So it comes very early, and it may not always be so integrated right away. We just know that there's something about this material or this prop or this fan. We have to have it.
So, Austin, this is a question for you. You said that you guys felt like you had this moment in the wings before the show started, that you didn't feel like you were ready to do BEAU, and that your body wasn't ready, and you maybe weren't sort of emotionally ready, but then you have to do it. And so what does that mean?
It's a physically and emotionally challenging work, and it's hard to just jump into. There's a lot of mental preparation that we do backstage, and it brings up a lot of feelings for the both of us, I think, that are hard to deal with and hard to experience live in front of an audience. So that's what's challenging at times. But it's you guys that feed us and keep us going. And
so do you think that you knew that it was going to be hard?
Yeah. There are times when it's just the entry. It's really like the moment the music comes on, it's either we've dropped in and we're there, or it's this sort of like it's happening. So tonight was one of those nights. It was like a shock. Like, here we go. And then actually last night we kind of just dropped right in. So that's something with live performance that happens all the time. So by not ready, not necessarily like, oh, we're gonna fail, but just the entry of battling what we're about to do for the next 25 minutes it can be daunting sometimes.